So let's first go back very fast to see if we remember what we are at this point. The reason we take the fourth step workshop. Anyone?
To find out our assets and liabilities and try to increase our assets and decrease our liabilities and do a little inventory and find out why we do the things we do.
Sounds great. So the goal of the fourth step is exactly that, to find out what we did wrong or we do wrong, and quote-unquote wrong is in quote-unquote. You know, what is the behavior that cause a lot of problems in our life and eventually was the underlying factor of our drinking. And those liabilities, we call them character defects. We said also before that the character defects are usually natural instincts. They are gone astray, just totally wacko. And we make the example of, for example, the regular instinct, you know, to have some comfort and have some social and financial security that is taken to the extreme and become greed, and greed that will bring us to behave in a certain way that we create circumstances that then will affect us, and then we are in this kind of turmoil, emotional turmoil. We examine on the, or we saw also, we spoke about the fact that most of what is the main cause of our turmoil is the self-centeredness. So being driven by the self-centeredness that creates fears, and being driven by an ego that has no intention of giving us quiet and peace, but actually, according as it says on the book, you know, is the one who defeated us. We are in this kind of path that is destructive and disruptive and brought us to these rooms. So the goal is, on the third step, we decided that we surrender, we give up the management of our life to our own ego, and we just give it to our higher power. We said last week how that step should bring us to outgrow fears, and actually in a certain way to eliminate fear. Fear is the result, obviously, of the ego, and fear is created by the ego, and it needs the ego in terms of space and time, and particularly on the extension of time, of the past and the future, to have a grip on us, and basically create all those behaviors that are dangerous and they are harmful to us, and obviously to other people. So we saw that one of the common manifestations of the self that defeated us are, as I said in the big book, the resentments, fears, and then the harm done to others. Okay? We examined the resentment first because it seems to be the biggest culpable part, you know, of our that cause our relapse or our drinking. Why? Because resentment maintains the sense of anger inside, and create the base for falling back into self-pity, and then self-pity usually is the highway to relapse. So resentment are taken first because are something that we like to hang on. And we have seen when examining the list of resentments that many of the resentments usually are connected to fear. There is a resentment, and parallel to resentment, there is fear. And we had the example about the job, you know, the superintendent, you know, the super that just, you know, tried to threaten us. So we felt resentment, angered by the way we treated, but at the same time there was the fear of losing the apartment because we were dishonest. So we saw how the list of resentment give us a certain glimpse of certain major character defects, because when we look at the part that we had into the events that brought to the resentments, we start to see how certain behavior on our side were integral part of the events that created the resentment. And just to make sure that we remember that, we divided the resentment in 3 groups. I don't know if you remember which one are they. No, the first group is the one that basically I call the non-existent. I call non-existent. Actually, they do exist, but actually the one that we created for mainly no reason. When we examine exactly what happened, we see that the resentment, the reason for our anger and resentment are really so minimal, non-existent, that we can get rid of them right away. Okay? And the next one example could be the road rage. You know. It's really ridiculous, you know. The second group of resentment is the one where we had some part in it, like, you know, now me growing a resentment over someone that is talking on my doing my work.
I was just going to say, not if you're driving a cab.
That is a good one. Yeah. Okay, that one is not an event, it is a resentment. The second part is when we had some part on it, and usually cab drivers should have really a good examination of what part they had in creating the resentment. So we realized that when we look at what our part was in the events that created the resentments, we start to see that certain character defects were actually the main cause or a cause or some of the cause of the event that created our anger and resentment. So we have the double benefit of diminishing the effect of the anger, because we start to see that it was not as justified as we thought it was, because we see that our sense of justice was a little bit screwed up, so that we have so many reasons of really being angry, so we start to let go some of the anger. You know. So basically we start to suddenly all this, the power of that resentment usually starts to fizzle down, and it's very easy to let them go of them. And on the other hand, through this examination, we can start to develop a list of the major character defects that keep popping up as the reason of a behavior that usually generate that kind of events and those kinds of anger and resentments. Then we have the third group of resentment. They are the ones that under very strict scrutiny and examination show that we had basically no part whatsoever. Basically, we can honestly say, I have been the victim of a harm, of an abuse, of violence that I did not deserve at all and had nothing to do with it. So there is over there a certain reason for feeling this anger, to keep refeeling, you know, this emotion of anger for something that had been done to us. And what we came to, the conclusion that we came to, it was that we need to get rid of them anyway. And the only way that we can get rid of that kind of resentment is growing or asking our higher power to help us grow into the feeling of forgiveness.
It could be a cab driver too.
And forgiving, we said, you know, is not really a kind of, is not that come natural to most people. Forgiving is something that we acquire. It would be wonderful, actually, if you suddenly feel this desire and this capability and ability of doing it is wonderful. But most of us, no human beings, normal people, or alcoholics, if you want, we usually tend to resist the concept of forgiveness. So the tool that has been put to our that we can dispose is prayer. So one of the tools that I suggest, and that is in a way suggested in these rooms, in reference to a story that it is on the Big Book, is to essentially keep praying for the person or institutions or principles toward which we have resentment, and asking our higher power, asking God to help us forgive them and to give them the best in their life or the best that they can have. And with this process of consistent asking God's help to forgive, somehow, and I can't tell you how it works and why it works. I really have no clue myself, but I have the witness, the testimony, basically, of so many people that in doing that have been able, including myself, to let go of those kind of resentment. Somehow, if you keep insisting and persisting in your prayer, and you keep wishing and confronting the resentment every day with this desire, at least, of letting go of it, of forgiving, somehow the ability to forgive comes. And then forgiveness happens, and then the power of the resentment completely disappears. Now, the need of getting rid of resentment is because anger is a very strong emotion that can really be very destructive at every level. Anger can bring violence and can breed violence to other people and to ourselves. So it is essential that we let go of that kind of resentment. Anger can arise in many situations, even if it is not connected to resentment, because it's the immediate reaction to something that happened, and the ability to deal with it is important. And how we deal with it is usually trying to see what the cause of anger within ourselves, which kind of aspect of us really is affecting, and then see how we can deal with that in a different way. So we see that most of the time anger is a reaction that is directed by fear. That what usually is the underlying cause of anger, fear. Fear that we might lose something, that harm can be done to us, or that some harm has been done that in reality is not really existent. For example, harm to my pride. And pride is one of those character defects that I was talking with another member of the fellowship, and we discovered that, for example, in the 12 and 12, when he mentioned the 7 deadly character flaws, called sins, character flaws, pride is the top one. And it's the first one because actually pride is one of the main justifications that we use within ourselves to give explanation to a lot of actions that actually are very, I would say, controversial. They're not making us feel good. Pride really is completely connected to the concept of ego, therefore is the cause of the problem. Is that clear as a concept? This kind of real of circular movement, that the ego creates a sense of pride creates a sense of reactions because it's fueled by the ego and is injected with fear. So it created anger that in its turn creates situations that generate more fear and that they reinforce the reaction. And that pride again acts again from fear. So there is this kind of circular movement. Then last week we examined fear. And I was questioning at times myself, why don't we talk fear first and then we talk about resentments and then we talk about sexual behavior and harm done to others. And actually, thinking about it, it makes perfect sense. Because anger is an emotion that actually is immediately violent, immediately can create problem, and it really can come from way back and is easy to identify. And being able to deal with fears when we still have the anger is not really easy. It's not easy for that reason, for this reason, because the only way that can actually the only way that we can fight and overcome fear, we said last week, is faith. Okay? It's faith and action. Now, if we are wrapped up into our resentment, we can barely, hardly have any possibility of reinforcing our faith. Our surrender really doesn't become effective if the bottom line of our emotions is anger, is resentment. So things actually cannot really happen that can reinforce faith and let fear start to disappear. So facing and dealing with resentment is probably the most important aspect, because they give us a sense of what the anger is coming from and how we can deal with it. Then we can start to look at fear. There is the thread, as we say, is the corroding thread, that our existence, full existence is thread with. So fear is, this, as you said, this short word really is injected in every single aspect of our life. And actually, we examined this week the fact that most of the character defects are the results of fear. Basically, certain instincts, natural instincts, are just taken by the ego, injected with fear, and then become twisted and become character defect. And for example, in the example that we did about greed and the normal instinct of financial security, when it becomes tainted and taken into possession of fear, become the fear of not having enough, and then we want to have more. The fear that we will not have enough in the future to be taken care of, so we want to have more, and this behavior becomes greed. So basically, that is what the process is. You take any natural instinct, even like sexual instinct, suddenly can become, if it's injected with fear, that we have to prove something, or we will not have enough, or that we will not know how to deal with, then become lust. We start to have this disproportionate desire for certain things to be there because we cannot cope, or we think that we cannot cope with the normal aspects of a relationship in particular. Does it make any sense?
Well, I was just wondering how rejection would fall into that too.
Well, think about rejection.
Because that's a fear thing.
Yes, rejection is fear. And usually rejection affects pride.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then
Okay? Pride is based on fear. So basically, I am afraid of certain relationship because I'm afraid of being rejected. But what is the fear that is over there? Rejection means I'm not good enough. Rejection means I will be alone. Rejection means I did something wrong if I am in the realm of shame and guilt. Rejection means I am lesser than. Rejection means people will think very bad of me if they know. So rejection really is taken as rejection in this negative way because of fear. Because there is nothing wrong in somebody telling no. I mean, excuse me, excuse me, may I have your car? No. Okay, thank you. Right. It's not a big deal. But if we offer something, I love you, do you love me? No. Right. Oh my God! Oh my God! So then he comes. You bitch. Or, oh my God, what did I do? I'm a piece of shit. Why did I ask? I should have never asked. I should have known. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, fear thinks this simple little relationship that could be just simple. Do you love me? No. Okay. Okay, well, can we be friends? Yes. Okay. Oh. It's normal. Or, well, I cannot be friend because I love you and so I want to fuck you and so, I can't be your friend because I will be there putting the mask on and then laughing. So the lack of honesty, and so suddenly you have this kind of problems, okay? So, but mostly is based in fear, okay? Yeah. In pride. So that's what it is. So even a normal instinct that is, I want to have sex because it's pleasurable, or I want a relationship because I really have a companion, enjoy companionship, because I like to be socially involved, I like to have friends, that is a normal instinct. If it is fueled or tainted by fear, suddenly becomes something that can be jealousy, can be envy, and can be lust.
Or vulnerability.
Well, vulnerability is exactly that.
Yeah.
The fear of being hurt. Fear of intimacy. Why am I afraid of intimacy? Because intimacy is the ability to be completely vulnerable with the other person. And being completely vulnerable means that you have to have absolute trust and faith in the other person. But you have also faith that the process is going to work. You might be hurt, you might not be hurt, but even if you will be hurt, somehow you can deal with the hurt.
A few
That
respects, you compared that almost as to surrender.
That is the surrender, exactly.
Yeah. So.
You cannot actually have real intimacy with someone if you don't have absolute trust in the other person and in yourself. And trust in yourself can only come if you trust your higher power. Because if you trust yourself as ego, at least if I trust myself ego, I'm fucked. Because I know that my ego will not let me open completely, will not let me be vulnerable. Why? Because go back in the past and if I'm in a situation where I was trying to open and somebody, and so I will say, oh, wait a minute, I'm not so stupid. I will not be played dumb with these people. I will not let other people hurt me again. Yeah. And so I will not open myself. Say, well, maybe let me try, let me tempt, and then I'd be close, and then, of course, then nothing happened. And so the relationships start to get really kind of totally weird and awkward, and I don't understand why. Fear starts to increase, so I start to interpret certain things the way that I feel in my fear. So my fear increases. I act in a certain way. The other person says, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Probably they don't say it. So they act differently, and there is a chain, boom, 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 and suddenly hurt actually comes because there is lack of communication. So intimacy is the ability of being completely vulnerable and completely open to communicate. But communication is vulnerability. Because if you cannot communicate with your partner, they can be a friend, or it can be your kids, or it can be your parents, then you cannot have an intimacy with them. There is no way that you can have it. And sexual intimacy in particular requires an absolute state of internal strength and serenity. You have to feel absolutely comfortable with yourself so that then you don't react to other people's behavior from the position of fear. But actually you start to see the other people's behavior from a position of compassion, of open-mindedness, of love, and therefore you're open to the communication. That is a big difference. Because we interpret everything, okay? We are the interpreter of we give the meaning to everything that is outside us. So the perspective or the point of view from which we start to give the interpretation affect the interpretation that we give. And therefore, what we believe is the reality of what we see outside. So now our ego put us, in a certain position. We start to see from that position that is very limited, because it's tainted by the agenda that we already have in ourselves. We have a certain agenda, and that agenda already taint and put the lens that it needs to see what will fit the agenda or not. Right, so other elements will be filtered out. I don't see them. Why? Because that is my agenda, that is the lens, that fit my agenda. This one is good. This, yes, there is something. All the rest is empty space. We don't want to say.
What do you talk about agendas a little more?
Agenda?
So you're saying you shouldn't have agendas?
No, when the agenda is the manipulation of things,
okay.
then it becomes something that prevents you.
Okay.
When agenda you want to say, well, I have certain plans, then it's no longer, usually, let's put agenda is, we already have set in our mind that we will behave in a certain way, feel in a certain way, because that is the goal that we want to reach, period. So everything revolved around how we can reach that goal. And most of the time, what we do, we twist the natural way of being to reach that goal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
Eh?
So what if you have a goal to, like, I want to get laid tonight, right?
Yeah,
And I go out.
yeah.
And that's my agenda, is to get laid.
Good. Now,
So
what do you
when
do
does
to do
it-
that? When it becomes a negative part and when it get not really danger, or when it becomes a character defect, when suddenly you start to use your ability to interact in a dishonest way. When you start to say, oh, you're so pretty, and say, well, actually, your ass is really solid. Then you know, well, I mean, it's different, you know? Or when you start to just be the romantic, but actually you have no, maybe you are a romantic, by the time you have really no intention, but you know that, you act and the eye keep looking at the person in front of you. Does he like me? Does he like that? Does she like it? Does he like it or not? And so you start to be like a chameleon, because your agenda, tonight I want to be laid. So somehow I have to convince this person to have sex with me.
So it's better just to straight out ask.
Well, then you
That's
start to
what your
become
agenda
dishonest. And when you become dishonest, because you hide your motives, or you put them the mask on that, then you let fear come in. Then the things can really get wrong. Or it may even reach the goal, and it's easier time through manipulation to reach the goal. The point is probably you will not enjoy actually what you imagine would be an enjoyable situation. And afterwards you have exactly what we are talking today. Did I harm someone? Yes, you did harm someone. Why? Because you were dishonest. Then your ego might tell, well, in a way, she didn't know how good I am, so actually I helped her just to feel an emotion, just extremely beautiful sex because I'm wonderful in bed. Now you can rationalize that way,
That's genuine.
Yeah, and then, you don't hear that she is talking to the friend, oh no, I was a little bit lax last night, I found this jerk, somehow I slept with him, oh my God. Okay, one thing is,
So I can tell.
but because it is, come on, if we want to, in money time, we just heals in a way, and then, if we could only hear what actually is going on in the mind of the other person. But in terms of agenda, that is an agenda that creates problems. When to reach the agenda in place of using what are the tools of this program, and one of them is rigorous honesty, compassion, open-minded, you start to be dishonest because you want to reach your goal. And that happens in all situations in life with all other instincts. My agenda is to become millionaire, okay? So I start to screw up people. I put up in the place, I start to use damn stupid Mexicans or Nicaraguans or Italians, they have no papers. I make them work, and after 2 months of excuse, well, I will pay next week, I will give an advance. When I owed them $1,000, I called the INS. Hey, I have here 5 people that I saw that document there, and make them the fortune. I made a lot of money. Okay? So my agenda is to make money, but I became dishonest and hurt a lot of people because I used elements that were basically injected with fear, and it was greed. Fear. We go back to fear. So that is basically how it works.
Wow.
In terms of trying to find out what the agenda is and what we do. So there is nothing wrong in having an agenda, and we go back to what I said the other week about plans. I have plans, but I hold them very lightly.
I want to get laid.
Good. That is wonderful.
No, that makes sense.
Because that is basically what brings, I want to get laid, and then the fear I might not be laid.
Yeah.
So the fear take that and say, well, but if I do this, I have better chances.
Yeah.
So fear starts to govern your behavior. The ego convinces you that actually you have chances, and then you rationalize and say, well, I do nothing wrong, you know. And do you remember we talked about saying the truth
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just saying the truth and having dishonest motives? For example, saying half-truth that can convey a certain impression, and you know that they are conveying the wrong impression because it is a truth, but it just cut in parts.
Even if I say, how are you, and I don't give a shit.
That could be already a way, you know.
There's statements of omission, when you omit
Something, you know. So honesty is the motives. Is the honesty in the motives. So if you want to be honest with a person, and there is nothing wrong going to a woman or to a guy, whatever your preferences are, and say, you know what, I would like to be late tonight. What do you think? And the person will look at you, I don't think so. Okay.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Or to even talk to them and to talk about whatever. But the point is to bring it to that human level with the person, instead of, like, I know with me, like, it becomes an object or something, you know. They become an object. So then everything is just dishonest off the get-go. Hey, what's your name? Like, I give a shit. Hey, how are you? Hey, where do you live? Da 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 da. You know, instead of just like bringing it down to like a human level, like, how's it going? And you know what I mean? Whether it's conscious or unconscious, right?
Yeah.
Just to make that effort, or not effort, whatever it may be.
Or you can come and, you know, the little more complicated situation. You see that the person is in pain. Maybe she just broke with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you know. That thing. So what happened to you? Oh my God, the jerk did that to you? I can't believe it.
You need to be late.
Well, so, you see, you can find situations where somebody, you can actually genuinely, you know, feel a person in pain and just, they say, you know, I don't care. Yeah, I would like to fuck you, but actually, I'd rather be here in human terms and listen to you if that can help you. If you need to talk, if I can help you in giving some support, some moral encouragement, some clarity maybe, and be there present as a person with compassion and open mind, that is the behavior. But if you have an agenda and the fear that you cannot reach your agenda start to bring your character defects over, then you are back in the possibility of just going into relapse. Basically, you take clarity away from yourself. You take peace away from yourself because you know inside the sense of guilt comes because you know that consciously you did something to hurt somebody else. And that, in a way, why what they say, you know, about AA, that's like in mafia, you know.
It's like what?
Like the mafia.
Uh-huh.
Once you're in, you can't get out.
And the big book talks about the fact that if you continue to harm others, you will drink.
Huh?
In the sexual inventory,
Yeah.
and the big book, it talks about, there's a little line that says that if you continue to harm others, there's a good chance we might drink again.
No, there is a huge chance that you will drink again.
Unless we're really truly sorry, and we
Yeah.
do it. You know, that's what it said exactly.
Yeah. So basically, that is what it is. You know, even working the steps. Once you work the step and you start to become aware of the possibility and the need of being honest, suddenly you can't get away from that.
Yeah.
Once you get into that awareness, you can't deny it any longer. You can close the door to it in the sense, I don't want to do it. But you will have to face the consequences within yourself because awareness, you cannot deny it any longer. And that is the beauty of this program, or the bad part.
I'm glad you mentioned that. It's an awareness because we grow up, I've grown up all my life learning the behaviors of getting what I want by manipulating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is an ingrained
Seriously.
thing that I've done since as long as I can remember with respect to women.
Now, what is the first step? Is the beginning of a lifelong change. So essentially, why do we want to fight the character defects? Why do we want to find this mechanism? Because we need to change them. So it's true. Society ingrained us, put us in our mind a certain way of behaving. Society, if you want, the family or whatever the circumstances are, okay, brought us in a certain situation where we are living in fear, in despair, in guilt and shame. Now, why that happened, I might find out, I might understand it, I may not understand it. It doesn't really matter any longer. What it really matters, I have this problem with my behavior. I have these problems in my life, and they are killing me. What do I want to do about that? Yeah, it may be because my father was brutalizing me. Okay, so I want to keep brutalizing my life because of him? Poison. I drink it, he doesn't die. The forgiveness. I kept cheating and doing because that is the way that I've been taught I can do, because that is the way I make money, accumulate money. And then, obviously, somebody catch me, or I'm feeling bad because I know that I send this poor guy back to die in some other place. Do I want to have that? So that is a very practical approach. And again, there are many things that I cannot explain, and I don't think many people in AA can explain how it works, but suddenly you see that thousands of people keep doing it, and something, the magic work. So why not doing it? Okay? So that's what it is. We have been ingrained, basically the ego and society, society through our ego, or our ego through society, programmed us in a certain way. What this program, the 12 steps, tell us, you have to deprogram yourself. And that's what the changes are. The awareness of certain mechanisms that pinpoint and bring up certain character defects that create a behavior that then keep haunting you because it's destructive, because it creates this sense of guilt or shame, of anger or fear, has to be changed. And how do you change it? Yes.
Oh, it just seems like there's a fine line between pride and self-loathing, you know? I mean, if you don't meet the pride part or the ego part, then you kind of are going into the self-loathing part.
Well, self-loathing, I think that is called, what is called?
Self-pity.
Self-pity, no, it's called false
The
pride.
reverse side of pride.
False pride.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
The anti-pride.
The anti-pride.
Okay.
Okay? And that's what it is.
Yeah.
Balance is the key, right?
Yeah. So that is we see as the mechanism, okay, between ego, fear, character defects. And we said that last week that basically, and actually you can experiment yourself, that the moment that you really start to feel this sense of surrender, and the more the faith in your higher power increases, the more you feel protected, the less the fear, all the character defects suddenly start to decrease. Some of them will disappear completely because the fear that was just the only cause to generate them disappeared. They will not pop out. Other character defects, they are a complex mixture. When the fears, all this fuel start to be taken away, we start to stutter. You know, it's like an engine. You take the gasoline out, and suddenly, I can work until a certain point, in reserve, and then you speed, you put some water in it, but then it dies.
On the other side, if you happen to have success and using the steps and actually get a good relationship, then it just spins upward.
Well, that's what it does.
Yeah.
What it does is that you reinforce your faith.
Yeah.
When the faith is reinforced, fear is decreased, and here again, the character defect go down, then your ability to produce positive results are bigger. Positive results reinforce the faith, less fear, more positive results. And that's what we told 2 weeks ago, I believe, how AA, or the fourth step, or the steps, bring you back to the station and say, okay, in place of taking this train, the train of faith, or fear, that you already know where it brings it, You already know. And no matter how much you want to say, no, we go out 2 stations before hell, and suddenly you get in and you know that you will hear the voice of the conductor, express train to hell, and you're on.
Yeah.
Right, you're back in hell, come back, say, okay, now this time I will not make the mistake, blah, 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 but you always keep taking the same train. I think Paul says, that actually what the steps do, or the surrender do, is that they give you the ability to read the signs on the trains. So basically, when suddenly you become aware of that, you go at the train station, and suddenly see, oh wow, and I saw that says, express to hell. You become aware of what he says, so you try not to go. You cannot say, oh, I don't understand this sign, but probably it's the one I want to take. And then he says, faith, express to better life.
Yeah.
So what we do, we start to decode those signs in the station, and we have the possibility of choose. And if the choice is to start our action with a little bit of faith, suddenly, as you said, good things start to happen. And so I say, oops, wow, I didn't deserve it. Thank you, God. Faith is increased. Gratitude makes your faith stronger. And then you make, again, the decision coming out from faith and not from fear. Okay? So that is how basically that works in this sense. Okay? Is there any other question about that?
Well, it reinforces the fact that if you have no expectations, you won't have any resentments. So that's...
Well, that is also a positive consequence, a result of it.
Right.
If you start to do things, with... You might have even expectations as long as they are reasonable expectations.
As long as they're detached.
Well, as long as you do not keep that goal and become an agenda.
Right.
So that it's not longer just a light expectation. If I plan to do something, I expect to have some results. But if that become an agenda that basically alter the way in which I just move, in way I act, because I want to cling on it, because it become the focus of my actions, then become dangerous. Because then you start to use the filters, that look at everything that happened just is a filter of that agenda. So you can have goals, you can have plans, you can expect to have something, but not have unreasonable expectation that it has to happen. So when the expectation means, I want it, then just go.
Can you cite back, like, when you want to be a millionaire?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you
that,
know?
Well, no, you said that, and I talked to an immigrant, and he said that you should be back. But that's not an expectation. That's a goal.
That can be a desire.
Okay, a desire.
A desire.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So I can start to do things, start a business.
Mm-hmm.
They might go well or might get not well.
Mm-hmm.
I can start to set up a business and put my energy into that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as long as I know that the result actually is not up to me in the final analysis.
There you go. Yeah.
Because I can build a business, suddenly an earthquake come and everything got destroyed because I forgot to buy the insurance, so I didn't have the money. Or maybe I just was so greedy that I didn't buy the insurance.
Yeah.
So the results really, the final result is not on us. It's on God.
Right.
So basically you let God just take care of the result.
Okay.
You say, I do what I can to achieve what is my desire, my goal. But if something doesn't come my way, I will not betray those principles that I know I have to apply just to reach it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will not start to be less honest because he gave me a better chance.
Right, you won't self-doubt.
Okay?
Yeah.
I will not start to be less compassionate because if I have compassion for these people, then I want to pay them what they deserve. But if I pay them less, I make more money, so I have more chances to become a millionaire. My business will be more successful. Okay? So as long as I apply in all my affairs the principle I said in step 12, they're basically rigorous honesty, open-mindedness, compassion, and love. Those are the ones that I point out. As long as you apply those, and then you let the results in God's hands, you will always have the peace within yourself. Why? Because you don't have to be afraid. because the results will come if you have faith. And suddenly, again, we said, the faith, something happened, and will happen something much better than you would expect, or something positive, then suddenly you see that your faith is reinforced. So you can even more let go, trust the process.
Okay.
And chances are that actually you become a millionaire, if that's very, very important to you.
Yeah.
If that's what is meant to be, you will, I don't know. But if being a millionaire is for you the goal because then will give you the self of security, then you might be really screwed up.
Well, then you'll want to be a billionaire.
That would be the next steps,
Okay.
The point is that either you have the sense of security and tranquility within yourself, then everything can happen to you. That if you really can tap into the source of energy that is your higher power, if you can really align with God's will, then essentially everything is possible.
Wow. Okay.
Okay? But you have to feel clean enough and pure enough inside that you can align with His power. Then everything is possible. But what is possible is also that suddenly you realize that you don't want to be a millionaire because there are other things that actually interest you much more. But you have to be open to that possibility. If you set your goal, I want to be a millionaire, and then you don't see that I might actually enjoy life doing other things, then other things will present themselves in your life and you don't see them. Again, you have the lens, the filter of that agenda, and you don't see the rest. So there is no contradiction between having goals, having plans, and actually, surrendering completely. Now, we have a few minutes. So if that is all set up, okay, resentment, we dealt with it. Fear, we saw what is the root of everything, so faith and action is what we can do to just try to outgrow, as I said in the book, outgrow out of fear. Now we want to make the inventory. It says over here the sexual behavior and the harm done to others. Now, the sexual behavior is essentially what we were talking before with fear mentioned, the fact that we have certain desires in relationship, okay? And in relationship is one of the most difficult aspects actually in our life because we need to because we all actually desire, I believe at the bottom of our heart, we desire the perfect relationship, okay? The one where we can really be understood, that everything, sexually and emotionally. Okay? Now, what is something that comes from, particularly from the sexual aspect of our life, that there is a lot of shame and guilt that is involved in it. Okay? And many times we grew up in particularly in certain society, where the sexual aspect of life is considered in a certain way that is, most of the time we feel dirty because we even talk about. And we're talking about the Western society. There is a sense of either religious resentment, certain religion puts certain taboos, okay? Certain laws, certain quote-unquote moral values, in certain society you will see, homosexuality is negative, having sex just for pleasure is negative. Having sex, with more than one person is immoral. So basically, in our society, the concept of morality has been given a high value and attached to the sexual activity. Okay. In the book, it's very clear. It said you cannot really be too strict, not too large, in the sense. But in reality, you have to apply the natural instinct and just feel what you're feeling comfortable with. Okay. One thing that I discovered working on myself and working with other people is that the sense of shame and guilt that come from the sexual behavior and the sexual relationship can be so powerful that it can really destroy.
Say that again?
Can be so powerful that can actually destroy us in many aspects of our life. Because then encompasses all our aspects. When we feel less than, or we feel frustrated, or we feel dirty, gee, I had certain sexual fantasy, oh my God, I hope the priest doesn't know. I hope my mother doesn't know. I hope my father doesn't. Oh my God. You know, I hope my friends would not know that I had those thoughts, you know. And so I internalize those fears, you know, and I feel, I project, I made a connection. The ego tells me, that thought is really bad. Now you are a really bad person, bad, bad, bad. And I'm there and say, I am really bad, bad, bad. So that already put my self-esteem down. I'm feeling like a dirty person. I feel that I do not deserve a lot of things. I'm feeling that I have to put a mask on. I feel that I cannot talk about those things because I'm afraid of being putting the stigma that, you know, bad, 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 bad. So nobody will talk to me. Fear of rejection, fear of just being left alone, fear of being judged. So my self-esteem goes down. And then all the other aspects of my life will be affected by the fact that my self-esteem is really down. And because sexual instincts are natural instincts, they are very common and very frequent. If we do not have a clear understanding of what happened in our past and how we deal with them in the present, and what we want to do to change our situation, then we can go back in the behavior where all the character defects start to pop up. So in a sense, it can be very scary to do a sexual inventory because it's not only say, okay, let me examine also the last relationship I had, my boyfriend, or if you marry my wife, my husband, my partner, my companion, whatever you want to say. You know, what did I do? Oh, well, I did nothing bad. I beat her up, but just twice, you know, something like that. Well, okay, I did something wrong, so I make a list, okay. That is obviously an extremely important part because that is the field where you actually can see where your main character defects keep popping up, okay? And when you start to see how the fear actually is the one that keeps fueling this kind of behavior. Okay. But then there is also the other aspect that you want to really face within yourself and then face with another human being of certain thoughts or fantasies that you have and just come to terms with them.
Come to terms with fantasies?
With the fact that you had them and there is nothing wrong in having them.
That it just is, that there's nothing good or bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it just is, it's not good or bad.
That you can give your
That it just is, that it just is there, it's not a good or bad thing, like not to attach any value with that.
No, it's not attached, it's there.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy, okay? Or it's an idea. It's a desire, okay? That is my position, okay? And you can take it or not, it's fine. But I do believe that because the ego, okay, is based in time, okay? The ego is based in time, is based on opposites. In our world, as people in this illusion that is our life, or in reality that is our life, however you want to perceive it, everything is defined by opposite. You cannot imagine light if you do not experience darkness. Okay? You cannot imagine goodness without having evil. So it is understandable that within us we have all these opposites. If we think about goodness, we have obviously think about evil. If we have desire to be good, we might experience the desire of being evil. There is no other way. So the fact that I can have a very evil thought doesn't make me an evil person. It's what I do with that evil thought that makes the difference. It's what I do with the evil desire or with the quote-unquote dirty desire. It's a desire. It cannot be right or wrong. It's there. It's a fact. It's an emotion. It comes. It doesn't have any meaning but the meaning that I want to give it to it. Now, if I want to interpret it through the lens of what the society gave to me, what my family gave to me, what ego gave to me, what fears gave to me, then I can make that the source of an immense shame and guilt. oh my God, I'm such a dirty person. How could I think that? How could I even imagine something like that? You imagine that because you're human.
Mm-hmm.
And probably you could imagine wonderful things because you could imagine so lousy. Only if you talk to the extreme you can really feel the expansion of your humanity, who you are. They find that you don't need to attach the meaning to it, or positive or negative. The moral stigmata cannot be there unless you want to give it to it. And usually it's not you who want to give it to it, it's the ego that attacks the stigmata, that value on it. So what is important in making the sexual inventory is, yes, to see how we behaved, because that's what comes to. The harm that we did to other people came not from thoughts, but from actions that we took related to certain thoughts. So when we had some negative or some thought that we are not happy with, and we acted upon it, creating harm, then we have to face it and say, why did we take that action? Why did we make that choice? Which part of us reacted to the situation that made us make that choice? What can I do now to make sure that I will not repeat that action? We already agreed on the fact that we cannot change the past. There is no way we cannot change it, you know? So the past is what it is. The only thing that we can do is start to change ourselves. Back to basic. Fourth step, the beginning of a lifelong change. Of what? Of ourselves. We are not start to change the world outside. We are not start to change the people around us. You know, say, well, that is my first step. You know? I will get today with my fourth step, I will begin this lifelong change of other people. It doesn't work that way. You have to change yourself. Okay? So, to change yourself, you have to see what you did wrong and how you did wrong. And then how harm to other people come to. Okay? So you're going back in your past, and you can see, okay, my relationship, my friends, my family, okay? For example, my lover, my girlfriends, my wife, what did I do wrong? Did I have cheated? Did I lie? Did I not pay attention to their needs? So there are all these elements that basically you can do as an inventory. You can go by person, you know, start with my partner, my wife, my ex-wife, my ex-wives, you know, whatever it applies to you, okay, guys, in terms of sexual behavior. And then, you know, you can even start to say, which one, you know, start to examine the sense of guilt or shame. Which kind of fantasy did I have? What is really affect me? Because harm done to yourself is an extremely important aspect of the harm done to others. It is harm done to yourself too. So you have to examine what you had, what you did that actually hurt yourself, even in this sense. And in the sexual aspect, you have to start to get rid of the sense of shame and guilt. Because if resentment just helps us to get rid of the anger, if fears help us to just get rid of, or let's to decrease the power of many character defects, shame and guilt have to be dealt with. Okay? Because they are as powerful as the rest of our emotions, if not more. Yes.
Oh, I was just thinking about, this is real obtuse, is like the fear of getting caught having sex sometimes is the stimulus to having sex too, you know. It's like say public sex.
Yeah.
And the fear of getting caught. You know it's wrong, but you do it anyways. Is it wrong?
Well, you know,
I don't know. Well, the law thinks it is. You know?
Well,
or sex in an elevator, you know, when you try to do whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
it is wrong if you're caught.
Well, that's it, and that's the whole thing. It's like, okay, is it wrong? Well, I got caught, now it's wrong, but I didn't get caught, so now it's right.
That you can start to just examine within yourself, which are the elements that make you feel the desire of doing that.
Right.
Or if you actually want to make the choice, if you want to act on that or not.
Knowing all the consequences.
Knowing all the consequences that you might not agree with.
Right.
But for example, you might want to consider the possibility that having a kid opening the elevator and seeing you having sex might actually be kind of harmful to the kid. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay? So the fact that what it gives you pleasure might actually harm or hurt other people.
Right.
Okay? So that's what you might take that into consideration and then see again, yes, it is a legitimate desire,
Yeah.
but do I want to act on it knowing that it might hurt other people?
Okay. Emergency stop button.
Stop it from becoming an
Can
obsession
you see,
and then ruining your life that way.
that is essentially
Yeah.
the yardstick, you know. We have a lot of desire and things that we would like to do. I do steal. Then I can say, I do not steal because I can get caught and I don't want to go to prison. Or I can just say, you know what, the fact that I know that stealing will make me dishonest, it's dishonest what I am doing, and that dishonesty will take the sense of peace that I have within myself, the sense of joy that I have for my life because I know that I'm harming someone.
Yeah.
You know? And I say, I don't steal. Not because I can get caught. Because I feel that I don't want to lose what I have inside.
Yeah.
Because if I'm stealing, I know that I willfully hurt someone to have a little benefit myself. And then we could go again to the same thing, the agenda. I have an agenda and I don't care about the other people, so I do not apply the principle. Why? Because I'm inconsiderate. Compassion is not there any longer.
Wow.
It's so simple. That is the beauty of this program. It is really so simple.
Yeah.
Once you get rid of all the garbage that you have inside, okay, and you have this connection with your higher power, and you keep this connection with the higher power, then the only thing that you have to do is to maintain yourself clean and apply those principles. Being rigorously honest, be compassionate, open-minded, and love.
Yeah.
And suddenly you realize, many of the choices will come automatically.
Right.
You will not be suddenly anguished by, should I do that? God, what I have to do? No, you will realize that actually the answer will be so clear that you don't even need to ask for it.
But the recognition of it, I mean, that doesn't come easy. Well, like you say, faith comes with practice,
With
right?
practice.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
It is a matter of working the steps.
Yeah, okay, right.
The promises that will materialize, they will come true if we work for them. And work for them, it means we have to work the steps.
And that's why you say it's
If you start to hit things and you will say, okay, I work the following 7 inventory, I will do it, in half an hour. You go, well, anyway, I'm not so bad.
Well, your special case is finished with it. But yeah,
So, okay?
it's a lifelong
Anyway, we next week we will recap. So if we have question about any one of the 3 aspects, resentment, fears, and maybe we can expand on how we do actually the inventory, this inventory, we will take care next week, if you will be here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So when we close, we passed the master, yeah. Erika, why don't you just lead us out?
I think a moment of silence for all of those suffering inside and outside the circle, followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Keep coming back, it works.
See if you work it.
You bet.
Okay,
I'm so sorry. I'm meaning to thank you so much for your help.
Oh, my head hurts.
It was so nice of you. I met your brother and had pictures and your son.
Well, that's what I want to hear about, I want to hear about all your trips.
Yeah.
And about my family, too. Well, I'm going to see them. I want to see this week.
What do you think? Yeah, you pop a few light bulbs tonight. Yeah, but it's good. It's so,
I gotta go, man. I'm tired.
It's funny how you can apply
My man,
everything.
you too. I see
Everything,
Erica, are you on? Where do you going? You live at home?
Right?
Well,
You know what?
and you know
You're
what?
right. It works.
Right. Okay.
Thanks.
I'll just think about that November
Where are you
2nd when we vote.
Okay.
Okay, next week.
Where are you staying now?
My mom's house.
How long?
I have to go back
Tuesday.
Okay, brother.
Scary this week.
You're going?
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, yeah.
Thanks, man.
I was sharing.
They told me you did a really good job. I was like, oh, thanks.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that you were sharing, otherwise I would have come the first 20 minutes, half an hour to listen to your share, to listen to your story. Sit down a few minutes. Are you in a rush? Are you in a rush to go someplace else?
No.
Yeah. So tell me about.
It seems like it was a dream now. Like, it seems like it was a really long time ago, you know? But, let me see. I went for a month. When did I leave? July, August. You saw me before I left. And I started off in Italy, Rome, and then I went to Florence. Or I went to Naples, and I went to Pompeii, and then I went to Florence, and then Venice, and then I went to Nice, and then I went to Barcelona and then Madrid.
Wow.
How'd you get to Barcelona?
Train. I took a train all the way
Yeah.
from Rome.
What is
to
the Euro
Madrid.
train you take?
You're
I got a Euro.
Euro, yeah.
It was really an adventure, you know? Like, it was amazing. I mean,
It was the first time you went out?
I've been to Europe twice before, but I haven't been by myself. I mean, when I was 15, I went by myself, but I was in a summer camp, so this was the first time where I actually, like, planned it all, you know? Like, I had an idea of where I was going to go when I got there, but I knew that I was flying into Rome and I was flying out of Madrid, and I chose to do that, but then I didn't know exactly what I'd go and see. Like, I just had...
That's the best way to go.
Is it?
It is
It
the
was
best way.
good. It was kind of stressful trying to get accommodations, though, because it's so
Hostels,
busy.
you stay in hostels?
And hotels. Like one-star hotels and hostels.
Did you just get back from a trip?
Like a couple
Did
months.
you bring back any euros?
I don't think so. And you want them? Are you going?
No.
Oh. I don't. Not very many. I spent it on makeup on the airplane.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, it was good. It was weird.
Did you eat good food?
I did. Oh my God.
Do you
the
drink
food
your
was so
cappuccino?
good. I don't drink that much coffee, but in Spain I had coffee on the train, and it was so good. I met these guys on the train. I was all, this is really good for train coffee. They're all, what? Train coffee? You know?
That's hilarious.
So tell me about my son. How is he looking?
Good.
I didn't see him for a while now.
Good.
But,
He misses you. I met his mother too.
Oh, Liliana?
Yeah.
Oh, you
And
went to her shop?
her shop.
Yeah.
And the baby was really cute.
My grandson. Yeah, I'm going back because I want to spend some time with them.
Oh, you should. They're
Yeah.
so nice. They're so nice.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
my whole family. They were so generous to me. I mean,
You stayed
so-
with them?
No, but I saw. It's Camillo and Camilla, right?
Yeah, to Camilo, yeah.
I met up with your son and his wife and grandson, your grandson, and then I went to. Your brother was having a dinner party, and his wife, I forgot her name.
And Aloy.
She was gonna
Hannah
take
Laurie.
me. She was gonna take me out to dinner, but then it didn't work out because I went to Pompeii and then I got back really late. But they were really nice. She was so nice. She like put makeup on me. She was like, "Oh, you put it on wrong. You did your makeup wrong," and she
Oh
like
my
did
God,
it for
that is
me.
unbelievable. I almost felt bad that I couldn't go to that because she is really something. She is.
Oh.
She's a
Really?
character.
I'm
She's a character.
Thank you.
They drink a lot.
It's
Awesome.
this Wednesday at Root.
I stay with them and I
But
stay with
because
them,
it
you know.
costs $5. If you got a big club, it costs $5 to get
And that is
for students.
consistent.
Oh, okay.
And then $25 for now.
There's nothing I can say
Oh,
about
okay.
that.
I'll
Kind
think
of
about
shitty.
it.
I don't.
But it's a really
In that
good
time, they're
Israeli
feeling uncomfortable
band.
saying, no,
Okay.
they
Performing.
Oh, cool. That'd be great. That'd be great.
You guys
Ate
want
at
to
Holy
eat
Land
lobster?
Restaurant
They
today.
look at me like,
Oh, you know what Holy Land is?
it's a bad review, you know.
It's really
So there
good.
was this kind of
They're all Israelis. Lots of ball soup.
a tiny little tension because they're afraid that I can be tempted to drink.
A little expensive.
They know me
How much
Yeah,
is it?
dude.
What do you mean?
from the time I was
Well, for
gambling
a
and
big
drinking,
matzo ball
so,
soup
you know, they-
and
so they
a
change
falafel
it.
platter and a Diet Coke
Happy
is
for me that
like
they are really-
$12.50.
They want to make sure
Yeah,
that
was
I
it
stay
good
with
quality,
you
though?
know.
Excellent.
But they're
Take
nice.
care, my
They're
friend.
nice.
Oh,
was
they
their
were cute.
hummus?
They were having a party when I was there, and I didn't realize that they had. I guess she has
Give me
lots
an
of dinner
olive oil.
parties.
chickpeas
Yeah.
and spices.
They kept on putting food on my plate. They're like, oh, try this, and try this, try this, and I couldn't eat it all. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really good, thank you.
Eating more
And, yeah,
is
it was,
What
Oh, it has
outside?
everywhere.
Yeah.
it was so good.
West
They had so many
Hollywood,
cooking.
Oh my God.
Because
Bro,
she's an excellent cook.
no more what you have going on here.
Patents without, you know.
She's
It's
really
owned by
nice.
Israelis. It's owned by Jews.
Yeah.
It's a different atmosphere. Huh?
She is.
Okay.
There are times
Looking
was a
forward to
problem
it.
with there.
Wow, that's so cool.
You know, I
grew up
like
in
it.
Santa
and
Monica.
she was
Yeah.
saying, just try this one.
That's what I'm looking for. Is
I couldn't stop. I
Or
couldn't
just
Yeah.
getting a
stop. Actually,
Okay.
In Santa Monica?
Yeah, because it's
So
about
I'm going back, but I
half an
made
hour
already my plan, you know.
drive, I think, or
I will
15-minute
not
drive
fit
to
into my
Hollywood.
boundaries.
Depends on what time you drive.
That's it.
rush hour.
That is the point. They entertain a lot.
Half an
Yeah.
hour.
Okay,
Okay.
they have friends.
It was really good
Even
to
though
see
it's
the
only
Italian
like
culture in
12
that way,
miles?
to see the way, like,
Okay.
that everybody talks
Okay.
like their hands. It was so great. I was like, I love Italian people.
But it's
I love, like,
how's
just
the air
the
quality?
passion. Everybody's so passionate.
Santa Monica is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Okay.
Amazing.
That's, I don't
I
want
really
it.
liked it a lot. I
Air
want to go
quality.
back. I loved Rome. I really, really
Maybe
loved Rome.
2 times,
I mean,
and I
people
speak to
told
my
me,
mom
they
every
were
day
like,
in the last
it's too big,
5,
don't
6
go
months,
there.
I've
But when I was
call my
like,
mom
it was
saying
one of
that
my
there has not
favorite
been
places.
sun.
It's not
Oh,
the favorite
okay,
place
okay.
that I went to. Like,
I mean,
Just
I
because
loved,
it's cloudy and
how do you
overcast?
say,
no,
Trastevere?
there's
Trastevere.
only been 2 days, probably in the
So
last 5
beautiful.
months.
So
There has
beautiful.
not
You
been.
know,
Been sun. Oh, wow.
Piazza Navona.
It is
Campo
sunny
di
there.
Fiori,
Yeah.
It is
then
hot there
Cross
all
Beach,
the
getting
time.
to
It is
Trastevere.
amazing.
Santa Monica. Okay.
I never realized it until I
There
left
is
because
so
Tel
much.
Aviv was the same way.
What do you mean
I
hot?
took so many pictures.
Not
I was
hot.
like,
Okay.
everything is so beautiful.
But you
I
know
want
the
to
really
take a
nice
picture of
days here?
everything, you know?
Yeah.
And like you need to run to the
Like, I
beach.
went back
sunny.
after
73, 74. It's like that all the time, with the exception of November, December, and January. The rest, and it's still nice.
Okay.
Just a little
Like
rain
sun,
here and
Rainy
there.
here and there. Okay.
But
So there's a
Why
winter
did I have this
season.
memory of it?
no,
No.
not a winter season. But
And I,
it's like,
that one
look at
day
this
I
right now. You know, you
Okay.
can walk out. You walk out like this.
Yeah.
It's not cold. You know, here in like a few weeks, it's gonna get really cold. You need
Right.
scarves. You need this.
Right.
Over there,
Yeah.
I fell in love
Oh,
with them
cool.
all over
it's
there.
amazing, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
expensive,
It's
It
gonna
really
be great.
is.
It's gonna be a whole new life.
and you know,
Wow.
there's something, every time you
Amazing.
turn the corner, there's something unexpected, something beautiful, something
Palm trees.
so
Oh,
sweet.
yeah,
and
Monica,
bizarre,
palm
and
trees.
then there is, I don't know, there is
The beach,
I have a feeling
cafes.
that
It's just a
thoughts
different
of
lifestyle.
cafes.
There's
a lot of good yoga studios out there.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I was
People
so
are into all that
involved in
stuff.
my
Yeah.
little,
Go to Santa
you
Monica,
know,
you'll really
and I
like
was almost going towards something
Okay.
emotional.
bunch
you
of
know,
a bunch of
like,
synagogues, big, huge Jewish communities,
Okay.
young
You were
people
over
everywhere.
Is it a big
I was-
city,
I was
Santa
away
Monica?
Not at
Oh,
all.
wow.
And it's a different city than LA, right?
Of course.
Okay. Okay.
It's very like suburbs,
in,
like
Zion.
Oh, okay.
not suburbs, but
So that's the reason why
It's
finally,
it's awesome, dude.
30
Is it
years
a
after
city-like
January,
atmosphere, like
and in
like,
March I went to
San Francisco?
It's like a town
Oh,
atmosphere,
okay.
not city.
Not
uh-uh.
all. Okay.
So now I'm big and back.
Big, it's spaced out. There's
Uh-huh.
everything to do there, but
You need
it's
a
more
car.
like a beach town.
That was my
Oh, okay.
It's not like high-rise buildings. You're just on a coastal front.
So
Okay.
when I
You know,
went
it's like
back,
paradise. Wow.
And then I went back.
So I'll look on
So
Craigslist
then the
for
car
roommates.
from
Because I don't want to
Pennsylvania,
rent by
really,
myself and spend
just
all
before
my paycheck, you know, just
before
renting.
Imperiali.
You
And
know
I was
what?
involved
There's
in
studios
30
there,
years
man.
with kind of
Oh,
We rent out a
life,
studio in our house, like in
you
our
do?
backyard.
Finally,
Okay.
You could get a studios
I
for
looked,
$700.
I
Well,
hear
actually,
the
Santa
wholesale.
Monica's gone expensive.
What?
Colossal.
It's what?
It's gone actually a lot more expensive, but you
I
can
didn't go
find
there.
a beautiful
I
place
went
with
and it
that.
was closed because
Okay.
they're having a concert.
Either
You
Venice
see
Beach
from
or Santa
outside.
Monica.
It's
It's all
just
right
Venice
there.
is
It's right. It
close?
borders Santa
Hey, look at
Monica.
that.
Okay.
So here's Santa Monica and here's
24
Venice
years.
Beach.
And I'm
Okay.
And then LA is
here
like
teaching
right
about
there.
30 years.
West
And then
LA.
where's
So
Hollywood?
Sally brought me big
West LA,
into
further
the
like right
different
there.
Oh, okay.
dimension.
West
I start
LA,
to realize
West
that
Hollywood.
The silliness
Okay. That's
of
where I
my,
wanted to be.
you know,
Okay.
the
And
hustle
so
of
a commute from
a
Venice
year
to
that I
Hollywood
wait
would be
and
maybe
Same
another.
thing. Same thing as
same
Santa
thing.
Monica. You
Okay.
know.
They actually just every moment is
Oh.
important.
Cool.
And
Those things.
I just
So
fell in
that's
love with
what-
them
I mean-
all over again.
Sundays go for walks
then
on
I
the
of course
boardwalk.
fell in love with
Beautiful
my
women on
grandson.
every corner.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
living in
the
4
women are
weeks now.
amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'm going
How
back
long
to
are you
Italy.
going to be there for?
Great place.
Indefinitely? You're like
Well,
moving
no,
back?
6 months, 8 months,
okay.
1
Trying to
year.
make it when I leave
I don't know.
Thursday
I
morning,
really
so
have-
Wednesday night.
I met you. I don't know.
It's gonna be.
You're like
it's
me,
gonna
I move
take
move around
Oh,
a lot.
yeah. Well, I'm sure it's
For me,
going to
he's
take time to
he's
meet
really
people, to
extremely
get
big leap of
situated,
faith.
but
Yeah.
You will, you know.
Yeah,
You will.
I
go to
have no
communities,
job,
start
and
going to like GA
the language also
Yeah, go to
still
the
is not
communities,
completely...
You'll get it right back. When you
Yeah,
go.
well, not really so much. I
Go
mean,
there,
I could
you'll meet
communicate
young
very
people,
easily.
man,
But when it
you
comes
know.
to, for example, to meetings, I was going to a
Synagogue.
Yeah,
meeting,
totally.
and
Totally,
I know this
totally,
big
exactly.
book in English, and all the jargon is in English, and I went,
yeah.
so
We're going to hit the road.
it couldn't, you know, the translation was kind of lost.
So I'm not going to see
A
you.
lot of
You're leaving on Thursday.
terms that
Yeah.
I use in there are so
My friend,
vivid,
you
have-
so
yeah.
clear
Whoa.
in English, you know. I was saying that in Italian, and they were
Hola.
puzzled down. I
How you
couldn't
getting
feel
back?
any connection to
What?
that.
You have a car?
I have a car. Yeah.
So, but it's fine, I will.
I'm going to get rid of all my stuff.
So I plan actually to work.
Just take what I can in my car.
I'm sorry, I'm doing it.
I'm sorry. Sell all my